All right, so you're talking about the same things we always talk about with Alabama: SEC championship game and the 2 playoff games. All right, SEC championship game, it's probably Georgia. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're a giant favorite, but even if they're like a touchdown against Georgia, all right, it's that. It's, 14 against some bad team in the playoff. And but by bad, I mean like the 6th best team in the country, but not a team that can beat Alabama. And then it's the title game, maybe it's Ohio State. Odds makers have said that would be like Alabama by 3 or 4 right now. Yeah, that's close enough. I think I'd have them favored by more with the idea that it could become less. But right now I'd probably have it more than that. All right, you take those 3 games, wrap them together. Like, are the odds of just winning those 3 games about what you see in the market right now? Probably something like that, because we don't really know how good Georgia is. Maybe I'm wrong. We don't know how good Clemson is. Maybe I'm wrong. We don't know if Ohio State's better than Alabama. Blasphemous. Maybe I'm wrong. Why bet it now? What's the point? So they can hold your money for 4 months and then pay you plus 180 when you get an undefeated season, basically, from a team? That seems kind of crazy. So they can win, but everybody thinks they can win. So that's okay. You don't really have to bet it. Conference, I'd tell you the same thing. They're minus 560 to win the division. Like, anybody want to tie up their money for 3 months to have Bama win the? I mean, maybe the answer is yes. For me, the answer is no with something like this, because it's possible that Bryce Young could get hurt. It's possible other stuff could happen. Maybe I'm wrong about A&M. Maybe A&M's actually awesome. Maybe the Rally Possum team is awesome. I guess that's possible. So just, what bets are there with Alabama? And that's just a big futures macro standpoint. There are, though, pretty interesting things, though, with Alabama this year. The Heisman is extremely interesting because it's possible that they produce 3 or more candidates, because there could be somebody we don't know about yet. And their win total is pretty interesting. Could you see them lose a game or not? That's basically the question that's being asked in the market, with more people answering yes, we could see them lose a game, than no, we think they will go undefeated. Usually what I'll do with teams here, it'll be less interesting with Alabama, is basically like compare them to previous iterations of the team and then look at the schedule, but not in a way that most people look at the schedule. So previous iterations of Alabama, yeah, this team looks as good or better than all of the previous iterations of Alabama. This team recruits at an insanely high level. That hasn't changed. Their 4-year recruiting average actually got better somehow than it did the last 2 years. I don't even know how that's possible, because they're like almost always have the number 1 recruiting class. Depending on what metrics you use, maybe it stays the same. So they recruit better. They bring back more than they basically ever bring back. Their returning production this year is better than every year that I have records for returning production. Not by a lot, but it's better. It's actually better than the conference average, which is crazy because they lose everybody to the NFL. And they lost less. Saban called last year a rebuilding year. You know why? Because every single member of the year before his team with Mac Jones and Devontae Smith won all conference or was an All-American, and they all left. And Alabama has that happen sometimes, but not to that degree. It really was like, you look at these metrics, it was a rebuilding year, if you want to call it that. Now, a rebuilding year happened to look pretty awesome, but it was a rebuilding year. So like this team has no ceiling, basically. That means win every game. That means potentially be an all-time team. There are some things that will hinge on, like receiver, for example, but it's possible. It's in play. So I think, the win total we can tackle first. So previous iterations of Alabama look as good, or this one actually looks even better than some of them, which is pretty scary because, a bunch of national championships. The team hasn't won fewer than 10 regular season games. At best is in COVID, they played 10 games and they won all 10 in the regular season. So the stat still holds, even though they only played 10 games. The last time they didn't win 10 games was 2010. I mean, the last time they've only, if I exclude the COVID year, the last time they won fewer than 11 games was 2019. And then before that, it was 2010. So like it's 11 or 12 every year. It's incredibly consistent.